Hello. I was just like sitting in silence, pondering, and I wanted to share something about perception. Why is the camera's like zooming in? You don't need to see that. So I have this rain jacket, and it's by a company called Rainkiss, and it's like quite long. It goes like to below my knees. It's black, but it's got these big yellow smiley faces on it, right? Now, anybody that knows me knows that, like, the things I wear, I wear things that bring me joy. And I wear things depending on my mood. Anyway, so it's quite a new jacket. I haven't worn it. It was summer. That's not to say we haven't had rain, because we have, but today we'd rain. And I want to go for a walk. So, anyway. So I wear this, go to the school drop off. One of the mums is running a little bit late. But she stops to open my car door and she's like, "That's the happiest jacket I've ever seen." And I'm like, "Thank you. Did it work? Did it make you smile?" And she's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, have a great day." Right? Then I go for a walk. With somebody that I love very much. And on this walk, we kind of went a little bit off. We'd go a little bit off track. So anyway, we're coming out, and I'm saying to this person, like, how did we manage to get so off track? So we're like making our way through this big high grass, like getting back on to the proper walking bit. And this guy's there with his dog, and he's like, "That's quite the picture." And I'm like, I don't know how we ended up in there. I thought we were on a track, but we must have been following a deer track. And he looks at my jacket, and he's smiling. He says, "Anybody think you're on acid?" And I just looked and I laughed at him, and I says, "Oh, not today." But then I realised, like, the happy face is like the acid face, right? Like in the 80s, the 90s, the big smiley yellow face, which would now be an emoji, right? Was like known as the acid face. So I'm like, that's really interesting, like the different perceptions of how people see you, right? So one person's just seen this happy, wearing something happy. Another person's like, I'm not sure if they've maybe taken something a little illicit and got lost in the trees. and then I go to Marks and Spencer's, which, for those of you who don't know, is a little bit of an expensive shop for buying. Their food's known to be good. I like to treat my boys to a nice fillet steak from Marky's. Anyway, on a Friday. So I'd gone in. And so bearing in mind, like, I'm wearing this jacket. I've got like an Enjoy Freedom movement band across my head. And I'm feeling really good. And I'm walking about, like, smiling. I'm like to the bakery girls, "Thanks for making such good food," because they do these really good cheese twists and I was going to have one for lunch. And they're like, "Oh, thanks." And then anyway, so I get to the bit to pay for it, and this older woman is just like staring at me. So I'm like, like, just smiling. And she would turn away and she would turn back and just look at me completely disgusted, right? Absolute disgust in her face. And I thought, I'm going to stand behind her. Maybe I could give her a nice compliment or something. That'll change her mind. But what was really interesting was that the woman that worked in Marky, she came and she's like, "Oh, come and stand in this queue. You'll get seen quicker." And then the woman turned around and she was like glaring at me. And the person that I was walking with today, they're like, "Well, you see, people don't expect to see the likes of you in Marky's, right?" So I was laughing, and I was just sitting here musing about how it just shows, like, all these different perceptions that people have of you. Now, none of these people really know me. But it's just interesting how they all see something different. But to me, It's just me. Um, so when we look at like judgment and um how people think about us, it's a really good point. Like we're never gonna know really how other people see us. It doesn't matter. You know, a little while ago that would have annoyed me. And I'd have been, especially the older women, I'd have been like, excuse me, you got a problem. But it just made me like smile even more. And I walked out of Marky's like hee-hawing and laughing to myself because I just found it so hilarious that just by being like happy and wearing something that made me happy could like really, 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 really piss somebody off. It was almost like, how dare you be happy when I'm miserable? Like, what are you? What is this? Like, I was crazy, you know? And nothing that I would have done would have ever changed that person's opinion, and they don't know who I am. So anyway, I just want to share this. It's a little bit longer video than I thought it was going to be, but I just wanted to share this because, like, what does it matter? You know, I'm living in my own little world, in my own little happiness, wearing whatever I want, completely free, in my own, like, joyful little space. And there are people that will recognize that. There are people that'll think, oh, well, you can only be that happy if you've taken drugs. And there are people, and there are people that'll be like disgusted because they can't find that happiness within themselves. And you know, there's nothing that I can do to change any of their perceptions. So anyway, it's just interesting. Just want to share my musings. Happy Friday. Love you.